want to raise the question of whether these justice contestations, are they unique to the ICC, or do we also find them in other types of transitional justice institutions? And my answer to the question is yes and no. I do think that we also find diverse justice ideas in other institutions, but I think that they are much less important in actually influencing how these institutions work and how they implement justice. And I think a very instructive comparison here is between the ICC and domestic criminal courts, which have seen much less in terms of justice contestations. And to understand why the ICC, why we have much more justice contestations at the ICC than at domestic criminal courts, we really have to appreciate the difference in legitimacy here. And now comes a bit more academic stuff. According to Max Weber, when we talk about legal institutions derive their legitimacy from their claims to rationality. And when it comes to legal rationality, we can distinguish between two types, broadly speaking. One is substantive rationality, and the other is procedural rationality. So criminal courts are substantively rational because they aim to achieve substantive ideas of justice. Deterrence, accountability, victim satisfaction, rule of law, peace, you can go on and on. But criminal courts are also rational because they are procedurally rational. They operate according to procedural criteria, especially due process, fair trial rights, expeditious trials. And I think when a justice system is well established, and usually that's the case with domestic criminal courts, which have very time-tested, very clear justice procedures, the only really standard to which we subject these courts is procedural justice. That's the only thing we really ask. So domestic criminal courts are never really challenged on substantive grounds. No one says to a German criminal court, hey, let's just establish a truth commission instead of this. So it's a very different, we sometimes ask whether a particular trial was fair, or we may ask whether there was sufficient evidence, but we usually never question whether these institutions should exist in the first place, or what type of justice they actually bring to the victims or to society. That's not something we care about. And I think the consequence is that even if justice practitioners at domestic criminal courts have different justice ideas, it doesn't really influence this well-oiled machinery of very established justice procedures.